official now, but you got a soul to say. I just been cooking that note. I'm about to drop in a few. Think if I call it the great, the people gon' call it the truth.
Bismillah Rahman Rahim, brothers and sisters. We are back on WVON 1690, the talk of Chicago. You are listening to Straight Words with Brother Richard Nabab Muhammad. Of course, Brother James G. Muhammad, our special contributor in the studio. My name is Brother BJ, and we are here every Tuesday night, brothers and sisters, to bring you some powerful information that you have never heard in your life. And you got to tune in and keep it right here on the iconic WVON, right here in the studios. We're bringing you news and commentary, black, strong, and unapologetically pro-Farrakhan. City of Chicago, all over the world. You're listening to us on WVON.com, streaming live. Join the conversation tonight, 773-591-1690, 773-591-1690, right here on WVON. So, my big brothers are in the studio. Assalamu alaikum, Brother Richard Nabab Muhammad, Brother James G. How my brothers doing tonight?
Alaikum salam, sir. How you, big brother BJ?
Good.
Brother, boy. I am doing wonderful, man. Wonderful, man. I'm excited about tonight's show, brothers.
Well, I think we got another great show. Very happy to be on the airways of WVON. In our first hour, coming up shortly, we will have the Nation of Islam's Prison Reform Minister, Brother Abdullah Muhammad, and he will talk about his work, which I think is really, probably, it is one of the most essential aspects of the Muslim program and the work of the Nation of Islam. Wouldn't you say that, Brother James?
I would definitely say that. It's part of the foundational effort. A lot of the brothers have been reformed in the belly of the beast, and have become great men and women in the Nation of Islam.
Brother, they come out
powerhouses,
and you would never think that they were ever in that condition.
Yes, sir.
That's right.
Demonstrating the redeeming power of the message of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad.
Yeah, and the nature of the black man and woman when taught that.
Exactly.
Which is the nature, the knowledge of ourselves, the knowledge of the time, and the knowledge of the enemy that we have. So, brothers and sisters, thank you. Look, tune into the live stream, call somebody, get ready to call in. That's the first hour. Second hour, we're going to do our Black Press Roundtable with all black women. So the sisters will be on deck again this week. We're going to close with Sister Charlene Muhammad, national correspondent for the Final Call, who's going to talk to us about some horrific incidents of police brutality out there on the West Coast and in particular in Los Angeles. But let's, I think we got Brother Abdullah on the line. Let's bring him right on in and we can get started. Assalamu alaikum, sir.
Wa alaikum salam.
Assalamu alaikum, Brother
to
Abdullah.
you, Brother BJ, and Brother James.
Oh, Brother Abdullah, we're so glad I got you on. I'm so glad I am able to make my word bond because I told you we would have you on. And brothers and sisters, this is one of the important aspects and purposes for this show. To acquaint you with those who are doing this work, why they're doing it, how they're doing it, and how you can get involved to support it. Just a very critical thing to have. So, Brother Abdullah, you are the National Prison Reform Minister for the Nation of Islam. Why don't you start off by giving us a little background on what that means, and if anybody's listening that's in the belly of the beast, we bring you our love, we bring you our support, we bring you our encouragement, and we hope that if you are able to tune in here or get archived versions of the show, that we hope to give you something that will inspire you, that will uplift you as you continually fight to be yourself while you're in the grips of the devil. But Brother Abdullah, tell me, the National Prison Reform Ministry, what is it all about, and how did you become over such a powerful program?
Well, first I want to thank the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan for being inspired to put me on this post. It began with me being in prison. I met a brother named Leotis X. Beasley in the Cook County Jail. And he had a study group after dinner in the cell where he was being held. And he was the only one in the jail at the time representing the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. And he had the only message to the black man. So I visited for the first time, and we were on elevate, respect, and protect the black woman. That was my first study group. And I've been studying ever since. This led to, Brother Leotis sharing his phone calls with me and reporting in to the Supreme Captain. At that time was Brother Theron. And eventually the word got to Minister Farrakhan about me. And so he knew me, he knew about me from my stand and position in defense of the teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. And when I came home, he was walking past and he saw me and he said, "So this is the brother. This is the brother." But he kept walking and went into his house. And so at my first FOI class, I came up and I shook his hand. This was in the basement of Reverend Al Sampson's church. The nation didn't have a meeting place at the time. So Reverend Al Sampson used to gave the minister the key to his church, and we had FOI classes in that basement. So when I shook the minister's hand, he said to me, "Allah allowed you to go to prison, brother, to study men because you got work to do with men." And this was in about November 1980. And 10 years later, he commissioned me to be his and the Nation of Islam's National Prison Reform Minister. So I asked him one day, "What is my job description?" And he said, "You don't have one as such. You said, I want the county jail, I want a state prison, I want the state and then the country." So that was my job description. And as a result, I've been traveling and teaching at every institution that I can.
Brother Abdullah, as you have been in this work for some time now, what are some of the essential elements or some of the essential teachings that when you come into an institution, what are some of those fundamental essential things that you start to share with the brothers? And you also teach sisters that are incarcerated at times. Is that correct?
Correct. I am a spiritual man, and it seems as though I may have an idea of what I want to teach, but when I get in front of the men, and it's been over put it like this, it's been about 5 years since I've been able to teach the women. And I taught the sisters represented the minister and the teachings to the sisters for 9 straight years. And then Sister Marilyn Muhammad started assisting me, and I turned it over to her, and I only visited periodically. And how that happened is it was this tall sister, Superintendent Hopkins.
This is at Cook County Jail in Chicago?
Cook County Jail in Chicago. And I was Mr. Spencer Lee. He was the director of the Cook County Jail at the time, so I had all division pass, and I could walk underground from one building to the other. And one day I was taking the underground path, and it was this sister, tall as me, and she was coming through the tunnel, and she said, if you don't come over here and start teaching these sisters, I'm going to give your slot to a Baptist minister. And so I told the minister what she said. He said, go right ahead, brother. And I said, well, what I'm trying to tell you, Brother Farrakhan, is this is all women's division. And he said, go right ahead, brother. And that's how I got started teaching in that. And he didn't tell me to turn it over to Sister Marilyn. I decided that I would recruit a sister, and it was her that was steadfast and consistent. And we you know what? I just saw the picture the other day. I don't remember what the certificate said, but it was a superintendent named Joycelyn Ben, me and Sister Marilyn, and the superintendent of that division gave us a certificate for our great work that we did in the division that she was over. And I just saw that picture the other day. I can't remember what the award said. I mean, the certificate said. But it was about our great work with the women.
So, brothers and sisters, you're listening to Abdullah Muhammad, National Prison Reform Minister for the Nation of Islam. He's talking to us about the fine work that you have heard him mention is some of the work and work that he was done, continues to do at Cook County and the state and around the country. Go ahead, Brother Abdullah.
No, one day one of the female officers came and got me and said, Muhammad, I need you to talk to these women. They done lost their mind. You got to talk to them. And so I, not knowing what was going on, one of the two of the women that were, anyway, they had a lesbian relationship in jail, and one of them was getting out, and she told her partner that she's going back to her husband when she get out, and they're going to get married, and one of them had AIDS. And she actually bit the sister that was going home to try to give her AIDS.
Wow.
So that was, I haven't thought about that in years. You brought that out to me.
Hey, Brother Abdullah, I know you said you're a spiritual preacher, and you definitely are. But when you go into the different facilities, what is your process? Do you kind of try to size up or evaluate the condition, the room, read the faces, and kind of decide how your message will be formed, or I know you said Allah puts it in you, but do you have a process that you take?
My process is asking Allah to take me over, form the words that he wants me to speak to his essence in his people, from his essence in me. And I just go and open up in the name of Allah, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, and Minister Farrakhan. My goal whenever I open my mouth is to get the reality of God into the mind of our people. And before I close, for them to know the divinity of the Trinity of the Nation of Islam, which is Master Farrakhan Muhammad, Elijah Muhammad, and then the Messiah, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. And to show you how this go, it's like I opened my mouth. I just came back from Coleman Federal Prison Complex. It's 4 different prisons on that complex.
What state is that in, Brother Abdullah?
Florida.
Okay.
It's said to be the largest federal prison complex in America.
And what's the name of it again?
Coleman, Florida. Federal Prison Complex, Coleman, Florida.
Any idea how many inmates?
They got about 7,000, over 7,000 inmates, according to the statistics. One of the sisters from the Florida Mosque wrote and showed me.
And you were just down there. Go on and tell us about this trip that you made.
Okay, well, the first thing that happened is I was supposed to preach at Penitentiary 1. And I got a call, and Penitentiary 1 went on, after I got down there, Penitentiary 1 went on disciplinary lockdown. But I didn't know why until later that day. No, I didn't know why until the next day. And that was because that sports doctor, Larry Nasser, had got stabbed 7 times. That canceled my service.
I heard about that.
So I didn't get a chance to reach my people because of that, because of him.
Yes, sir.
Now, he was stabbed about 10 times. Was he stabbed in that facility?
Yeah, I was supposed to be teaching in there.
Wow. That's
and
incredible.
he got my service canceled after we traveled after I traveled all the way from Chicago.
So what happened next after that? So you couldn't do that service. I know you did something, because that's the kind of man you are.
Well, no, I had to go to the other prisons the next few days. And so this was a rough trip. I went to I can't remember the which prisons I went to, in order, but one of them I went to. About 28 brothers came into the chapel, and one of the brothers that was securing me went out into the hallway. And when he went out into the hallway, a couple of brothers came in saying they trying to stop us from coming to service. They trying to stop us from coming to service. And then the brother, registered FOI brother Zachariah Muhammad, from Mars 29, came back into the room, and he said, I just saw a white boy wrestling with the police, and they trying to get him down to put the cuffs on him. So that caused the compound to be closed. But that stopped movement. So the other brothers that wanted to come, nobody could come now because they stopped movement. That's what they call it. And as a result, we had 28 men, and they didn't. They could have had came and told everybody to go back to their cell, but they left the ones that made it into the chapel. They left them there.
Praise be to Allah.
Let me give you an example of how Allah uses you. And you say things that you have no intention on saying. I was teaching the men, and like I was saying, I was showing them the reality of God throughout the scripture. And, the basics, how it's I, he, him. And, you don't know of any spirits. Jesus wasn't a spirit, was he? And no sir. But he had a spirit, right? And so I told the brothers, I'm just gonna make 2 points. So I told the brothers in the clearest possible way I could think of at the time to show them that God is a man and that he always comes in person. So I said, let's go back to when you first got locked up and you needed that bond money. And you prayed to your spook God. And you promised him that if he get you out this time, you wouldn't do this.
Right.
And I asked them, I said, am I right or wrong? And several of them started laughing, and they say, you right? And so I said, so did your spook God show up and post that bond? And they said, no, sir. I said, you mean the spook didn't show up with bond money? And they said, no. I said, well, let me prove to you that God is a man and always comes in person. I said, if your mama don't show up with that person on her arm with bond money in it, you ain't getting out. And if your father with a pair of pants on with money in his pocket don't show up and post that bond money, you not getting out, because God always comes in person.
There you go.
Come on, teach.
And they like that. Now here's the second one. I'm in the middle of teaching, and I can't remember exactly what I was saying at the time, but Killer Mike came up in my mind, a rapper, and the verse that came up in my mind, Killer Mike said, this is for the junkie, the fiend, the loser, praying to God in the back of a cruiser. I hope prison cures your addiction and the devil's affliction so that he can't hurt you no more. And when I said that, a brother that was just sitting over to my left midway of the rows of seats, he hadn't moved the whole time I was talking. But when I recited that verse, he hollered out, "Oh, man, I'm so glad you said that, man. I'm glad, man, I got to watch you, man. You better watch it, man." He said, "Man, I'm glad you said that, because they try to make me feel like it's something wrong with me because I'm around your age, man, and I'm in the rap too." This lit him up, man. When I hit that note,
wow,
it set the whole room on fire. They started laughing and everything.
Go ahead.
And that's what I mean. I ask Allah to take me over, form His thoughts in my mind, that I might speak His words from His essence in me to the essence in His people. So I don't know if
Brother,
go ahead, brother.
Go ahead.
Brother Abdullah, you mentioned a couple of incidents that caused you not to be able to speak to our brothers and our sisters the
brothers.
The brothers, and throughout the years, there's been the enemy has not wanted our message to get into the prisons. What is it like now in terms of government, etc., in terms of being accepting of our people, our brothers coming in to teach our brothers? Is there resistance, still immense resistance, or have they seen the value of us coming into these facilities and saying, okay, hey, they got a solution, let's give them more access, or, like you said with Mr. Leak, free will to come in and out to teach?
The minister said that the mind of Satan or the devil has to be murdered.
The mind.
Right. The mind of the devil, the mind of Satan has to be murdered. It is part of the fabric of this society.
Right.
This society loves a liar and the lies that their liar who they favor tells. They don't love the truth and never will. That's why it's not a time for integration. It's time for separation according to the time and what must be done.
Come on.
And I don't go looking for them to treat me I don't look for them to recognize. Look, let's just go straight to the chase. The Holy Quran show you that Pharaoh don't bear witness to Allah until he's drowned in gurgling water on his way down.
Right.
And then Allah said that I'm going to kill you anyway. Because he's not going to bow down to our God and the truth that He has told among us, even though He looking at Jesus historically, then Jesus, Master Muhammad coming, then Jesus, Elijah Muhammad being raised, and then Jesus, the people from which the messenger was raised. He sees the miracles taking place against his will and still won't submit. Now we got the fifth Jesus, the one that is the Jesus of the resurrection, which is the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan.
Come on.
You can't see this man got the power to resurrect the dead when the Nation of Islam was dead, and Brother Jabril, excuse me, and then Brother Jabril remained woke by Allah and Honorable Elijah Muhammad's permission and work, and he knew what his assignment was to wake Minister Farrakhan up to resurrect the whole Nation of Islam.
Yes.
They're not going to bow down. Allah is going to murder their mind and take all of them out during the judgment. And you see the judgment, they would rather call the judgment wildfire.
Climate change.
What's wild about it? Oh, wicked storm. a wicked storm. What's wicked about it? It's the consequence of your evil action.
That's right.
Come on.
They're not going to bow down, no matter what you do. And this government you mentioned, this government and its presidents are the reasons why the penitentiaries are full.
Yes, indeed.
Richard Nixon started a war on drugs.
Go ahead, man.
Then you get to, I might not say them in the right order, but then you get to Ronald Reagan with George Bush Sr. and Oliver North.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
And then they wage a finance an illegal war and then turn a blind eye and allow the drug cartels to bring cocaine into the United States of America. And our first casualty of war was Freeway Ricky.
Yeah.
Then he spreads crack, or one of the people that's the source of the illegal wars, import of drugs, spreads through all our communities.
Yes, sir.
The point is, it was no such thing as a trap house. It was no such thing as selling crack cocaine and referring to it as trapping. It wasn't no trap music until George Bush and Oliver North and Reagan brought these drugs into our country. So when I teach, I try to let the brothers and sisters know who the real enemy is, and you're not guilty. They are guilty of trapping you and then making money off of you while you feel that you did wrong, and your mother and father might say, I told him, now he where he belonged, he wouldn't listen. But she ain't saying nothing about these wicked beast presidents. They celebrate, our people are so ignorant, they celebrate President Biden for signing the June 19th, I guess it's a federal holiday where you get off work. Where as long as you barbecuing, dancing, and singing,
You don't have to worry.
And shooting.
he know he still got you.
Got firecrackers on.
Right.
Please.
Emancipation ain't freedom.
That's right.
And then the same one that signed the Juneteenth bill to give you a holiday is the same one that wrote the mass incarceration bill that Bill Clinton signed off on.
Come on now. Talk about the
We
90s
got
and the
to start
80s.
seeing. I couldn't hear you.
I said, talk about the 90s and the 80s.
Yeah. Well, it's still going on.
It is.
That's just when it started.
That's right.
Or put it like this. That's when I began to realize why we in prison today.
Mm.
Some of the people that after Biden wrote and Bill Clinton signed off on
Crime
the bill,
Crime bill.
the crime bill, we've been in prison ever since then.
Mass incarceration.
Some people are still in prison
Yes.
as a result of Clinton signing that bill.
Selling marijuana that now is you can go to the store and buy it.
Right. Yeah, well, that's the same way it is. Like back in the day, I used to steal my great grandmama's policy box, and they would chase me up under the bed, and they couldn't get me out from up under there. Well, eventually, that became legal. I think we calling it lotto nowadays.
Go ahead. That's right. That's right.
You know
Used
what
to
I
be the
mean?
numbers
So-
game.
Exactly.
Right. So when everything is illegal if they ain't getting their cut.
Money, yeah.
If they ain't took it over and they the primary beneficiaries of the game,
Right, exactly.
it's illegal.
Exactly. We got to call it up.
Yeah, Brother Abdullah, let's bring in Cliff, and Sister Deborah gave you a shout out on the live stream, Brother Abdullah. She said, "Thank you for your years of service resurrecting our incarcerated community." Brother Boosie Latham just said, "Dope show." Cliff, welcome back, my brother. Go right ahead.
Assalamu alaikum, brothers. Thanks for taking my call.
Walaikum
And this
salam.
is my question to Brother Abdullah, your guest. And I simply want to say this, if it's not too offensive. Bro, what was the reason why you were incarcerated?
Oh, living the same kind of life Malcolm X lived.
Go ahead, man.
I even been booked for. I even got a false charge of prostitution on my record because I was. I hate to say it, man. At the time, I was pimping. Okay, and I busted.
Okay, thank you, brother. Well, here's my point. Look, here's my point I want to get to, right? So, and I'll be brief, and just give me a few seconds. Now, last week, I believe you brothers had a call from Brother Art. Good brother in terms of code of conduct, but he asked the question, why won't America, if the black people are the agenda and the plan is to destroy and annihilate the black people, why don't they just do it at one mass point in this one period and just exterminate us all? And I think, brother, you were speaking right on that, and you were right on point that, you know, it's a gradual process. And correct me if I'm wrong, the enemy does not work at one point, but he works gradually. So for the 50 years, man, that the drugs were brought and infiltrated in our black community, we have destroyed ourselves in helping the white man to destroy us. So it won't be one period where all black people will be annihilated. It's a gradual process that's been happening. And it continues, brother, like you said, it continues to happen. We are committing the same self-destruction as the white man in his original plan. And so I just simply want to end by saying that, you know, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan and Master Fard Muhammad, some people call him an ascendant master, meaning that they have envisioned what the enemy is doing, and he's trying to warn us. So you had Rapper Mike, and the last point I'm making is that Minister Farrakhan had a summit, and I just saw the footage, and he was telling to the gangbangers that you brothers are committing the same atrocity as the white man, and once you get done, then the white man will come in and finish the whole purpose. And so I just want to leave with that, is that this has been happening. So I hope that answers his question. But, brother, you know, thank God for the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan and the Nation of Islam for waking us up and being at a higher consciousness in order for us to survive. We need to adhere to the Minister Louis Farrakhan if we're going to survive. Thanks for taking my call. Thanks
Thanks a lot.
Well, I'm not sure what his question was, but in the time and what must be done, everything is pre-written, referred to as prophecy. We're on God's time. And you don't even know when your time began because all of us was born knowing nothing. You only know what somebody that was already here told you is the time that you began. Call your birthday. But you're not conscious of when you began. This is a universe that is evolving to perfection. You didn't know other people was in you until Allah revealed to us that he's going to place a ruler in the earth. And what will you place in it except that which will create mischief and cause the shedding of blood? The angels and Iblis in the Holy Quran didn't know. What they didn't know is it's other races in them that have to be brought out and given time to rule and given a place on the planet to exist and live. So when the devil in the prophecy challenged God and told God, I will make all of them curse you to your face. Respite me until the day they are raised. We're in the day now where we are being raised as a result of Minister Farrakhan raising the nation. Everything in its own time, according to God's plan, not your plan. And the greatest thing that we can have is the patience based on the knowledge that we have accepted. Some of us are praise the nation and talk about us and condemn us when Martin Luther King was quoted by Minister Farrakhan. He said the real criminal is the white man. The crimes that the shock troops commit as a result of being unemployed, and they are doing things to shock their parents, are derivative crimes. So if the enemy wasn't a wicked, evil, self-hating bastard, along with hating us, we wouldn't be. If he would kill all our leaders and try to frame Minister Farrakhan while you condemning us for doing what you say we doing to ourselves, condemn your damn enemy.
Right.
Because until he's out the way, we can't live in the kingdom. And God has his own time clock when he will rid the planet of the burden of the man of sin. Quit self-hating. And by the way, did you join the Nation of Islam? Did you join the 10,000 Fearless? I better stop right now, man.
Go ahead.
Yes, sir.
Brother Abdullah, our student, National Prison Reform Minister. I heard Minister Farrakhan say this, brother. He said, God uses prison to purify his servants, not to crush them, but what the enemy means for evil, God means for good. Could you talk to, there's some brother in Cook County Jail that's listening to us tonight, and some of these brothers might not have no hope. Can you give us some hope in the last few minutes before we close out, brother?
Okay. Well, once again, the enemy is at work. Yeah, I could give them hope, but they just now opening the county jail up. And out of all of the people at that county jail, they got me teaching 6 men from the same tier once a week and letting nobody else on none of the other tiers even know I'm there. This is a hindrance to us, and I believe it's a violation of the right to practice your religion. And they keep us in darkness. Some of the brothers is so behind in the news, they didn't know nothing about Ye and the Jews or Kyrie and the Jews.
Wow.
That's how far behind they are.
Wow.
That's the kind of darkness that they're sitting in there. So I'm there. I won't be there this Wednesday because I leave for to Philadelphia, but to go to the prisons in Pennsylvania. And hopefully I'll be able to see Mumia Abu Jamal. But the brothers, Allah is already in you.
Come on.
Listen to the voice that you told to shut up when it was guiding you right and warning you not to do what you did. Listen to that voice. Grow that voice by feeding on the scripture. I know it's a Bible around there somewhere, and it may be a Quran around there. feed on the word of God, and then pray to God to guide you on how to work, go to the law library, and work to free yourself. Some of us never had a degree, like Freeway Rick. He didn't have no degree, couldn't even read when he first got locked up. But the desire to be free caused him to go to the law library, or I guess other people assisted him, but he won his freedom. You could do the same thing, but it's God first, not your lawyer.
Come on.
Brother Abdullah.
Yes, sir.
Man, thank you. Look, how can people reach you? How can they support your ministry?
Well, if they want to support financially, you can go to the Nations Program. And when you get to the page at the bottom left-hand corner, you can register as a guest. Then you will be able to go to the page where you will see Prison Reform Ministry, the name of National Prison Reform, where you can make donations. Right now, my phone is inoperable at the mosque, but the general phone number is 773-324-6000. 773-324-6000.
Now, the other thing is, if you I'm sorry, go ahead, Brother Abdullah.
No, if you want to write me, the address is 7351 South Stony Island Avenue, Chicago, Illinois, 60649. So you can address the letter to me, and then to the Nation of Islam's Prison Reform Ministry. So it'll come to the office that Minister Farrakhan gave me.
And you can also put a check or money or something in that letter. I'm guessing too.
Yes, sir.
And that check or money order
right
should be made payable to NOI Prison Reform Ministry. Now, when you get the print edition of the paper, on page 25, we got a beautiful ad, but we got to take a break. We're at the top of the hour. We're going to take a little break. Brother Abdullah, hang with us for a couple more minutes. Did we lose Anita? I hope we didn't, but we'll get her next time. But let's go. This is Straight Words, WVON 1690. Let's roll.